An interesting message. I'm hearing traveling light. Okay, so, and also with that kind of not wanting to carry the heavy burdens forward. So let's see who and what this is about for you, okay? There's different things coming through. I think it could be something to do with the cycle someone's been completing, but also something to do with generational as well. 4 of Wands. Okay, straight away, okay, Tower as well. Straight away, I've heard someone has specifically sacred union on their mind. Okay. Let's see. I feel like there's been a whirlwind of emotion or something that's been taking place. Knight of Swords. It's definitely something fast-paced. Or maybe someone wants this. They want to just like race towards this. 2 of Cups. Okay, this is confirmation of what I've just said. 2 of Cups. Judgment. Yeah, it's like suddenly they're getting all this information, all these like insights, downloads. You know, they're seeing so much in their reality as well. Maybe something about what they're seeing as they scroll through their phone as well. It's really making them want this more and more. Like I say, right, it's like charging ahead. I'm seeing, going in the back of a horse and, Yeah, maybe horse riding is important for somebody here, okay? The Star. Oh my God. The stars are aligning. There's something really miraculous about this journey that someone's been taking. I think that it's very taught them to believe in miracles, if you will, to have faith in the divinity all around them. I think this is something that I think they might have confused what they want with something that they were stuck on, something that they were maybe addicted to or just unhealthily desiring, right? But mistaken. Queen of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, definitely. 9 of Pentacles. Wow. I think that's what the not wanting to take those heavy burdens forward. I think someone's finally at that space where they're gonna be very soon release those burdens. They're literally, it's that healing thing. Sometimes you're healing and you don't even it happens slowly in small little bits. You don't even realize it's happening, right? Until something comes along and it's a similar situation as you've been in, but you're acting very differently. 6 of Cups, the past. Justice. Someone's brought their inner child some justice here by finally addressing whatever it was that was preventing them from seeing the beauty of sacred union. Wow. 10 of Swords. Strength. God, they've had a lot of... I think a lot of things came to them all at once. Everything that felt like destruction, such darkness, like they plummeted into darkness, truly, and it happened so quickly, so fast. I'm just seeing like this super dark cave, and they couldn't see the treasures that were there because they were the brightest treasure, but at that time, that's not what they were seeing, right? And now this is what I think they've been clearing through, but I think it's because they've been clearing through whatever it was that was keeping them in that dark cave. Chariot, hello, they want to full speed ahead to this 2 of Cups. Tower, confirmation, what we've just said there as well. Them being mindful, they need to be mindful that it doesn't end up in this kind of destructive energy because someone's so like charged that they're not actually balanced within themselves, because don't forget that sacred union starts within and requires you to find an alignment within you to present yourself in a certain way. That is then going to allow both of you to come into that divinely aligned space where you can even begin to take the steps that are needed, okay? Someone's still healing. Of course, healing is lifelong, right? But I think there's something a bit more deep-rooted with this is what I'm hearing. So I think that someone still has some kind of, it could be addictions or just something along those lines specifically. Yeah, so sometimes they might act in ways that are just not in alignment with what they want. They see themselves in their divine self, but sometimes, and this is a healing cycle, it's sort of saying it's cyclic. It's kind of like it'll come to you again and your response will be different. You'll even be able to step back and observe yourself if you do react, but this is because this is really, really wounded inner child that I think that maybe they were left abandoned or felt like that. felt like their love was never enough. Maybe they tried so hard to get approval and validation outside of them from their caregivers, family, whatever, at a very young age, and they just didn't get it. It's a deep wound that runs deep, which is why this healing is taking a while, but they are taking the actions they need to, or at least they think they need to. It's interesting. Queen of Cups. That's that independent energy, knowing her worth. Really, you know, there's something about this though, she's really compassionate at the moment. Something about, it's like she's operating from a really understanding heart space. You know, it's like even if the physical union isn't about, she's kind of sending love through the ethers, if you will, you know, if she feels that need to, or the pull to, or whatever. I think that she's recognizing somebody else has been through some dark cycles that she hasn't been present in, but she feels that. And that's why she's like, okay, you know what? She's operating from a much more compassionate energy. And I think that's because she's finally called her power back to her. She's not outsourcing, validating, waiting, you know, expecting someone to be a certain way or anything like that. She's honouring that everyone has their own journey, just like she has done. She had to cut out a lot herself to get to this point. I'm talking about mentally, like her own thought patterns, her habits, her repeated kind of self-destructive ways, right? Yeah, okay. 3 of Pentacles. Yeah, I think this is two people who want the same thing. Honestly, I do. They want to bring balance, but they're both very aware that they need to bring that balance within themselves in order to come forwards. And I think they're aware of that about each other as well. There are two people very much are recognizing that they want to bring their best selves to this. Yeah, and they know that that's not perfection, but it's the version of themselves where they aren't externally attached, right? They don't want to come with that unnecessary baggage, that unnecessary in the sense that the other person doesn't need to handle that. That's theirs to handle. I'm also getting the message that, you know, sometimes you can wonder why are these things happening, you know, whatever. Because a lot of people believe karma is in one lifetime, for example. Karma is across lifetimes and it's generational. And that's the message that's coming through. Something about generational. Sometimes certain actions and decisions are taken and made from your ancestors generations ago. And your lineage has to get to a point where there's somebody who can, I'm hearing, repay the debt, right? So it's definitely divine justice energies coming through, okay? The feather and the heart. And it's like you get to that point where that person is finally there in that lineage who can clear through this. They have it within them to clear through this. That's why it's not like, why is that happening? But it's more like, okay, how am I the person who gets to handle this now? Right? Oh, no. Yeah, definitely. With the 10 of Swords, we've got the 7 of Swords, Knight of Wands, and the 3 of Cups at the bottom of the deck as well there. Definitely somebody who was not thinking... actually their head was going way much faster than their actions and their ability to even think on what they're about to do. Talk about impulsive self-betrayal cycles, continued. That's why we're in like the 10 of Swords is like the true, it's down and out is what I'm getting, but it was all this impulsive energy. I'm even seeing sexual kind of encounters. I think that might be one of the bigger ones because that was coming through before as well, you know. So definitely that sacred energy has not been healed. Well, it wasn't at the time, right? It was very out of balance, very unrooted, right? They clearly need to work on their root chakra to find stability within in order to go forwards, because I didn't have that stability at all. This is like so fast moving. There's no heart in it. There's no thought in it. You know what I mean? As in like actual, let me think about the consequences of this. Let me think about the impact of this. Someone wasn't in the position where they even were thinking about taking accountability. This is someone who probably, I'm hearing hit and run, okay? I don't know why that's just come through, but there's certainly someone who, you know, would get what they want, and, you know, if it was time for them to go, they'd go. I think that they acted like this here. And there were plenty of options for them to move towards, right? I'm not just saying specifically like to do with romance or sex, right? This could also be just other things, like people who fueled their behaviours when it came to those addictions. Generally, you know, so the people around them. But this is someone who themselves have been making these choices to continue through these self-betrayal cycles. And as a result, they've hurt others along the way, and they've certainly hurt this Queen of Cups who has regained her power back to her for sure. King of Pentacles, look, see, with the Two of Cups as well, someone has been working on this, healing through this. Devil at the bottom of the deck. Their focus for a very long time would have been what they saw as material success, you know, everything external outside of them. Appearances might be important to this person as well. They're definitely somebody who has outsourced, is what I'm hearing a lot, right? So, and now they're finding grounding within themselves. They've had to awaken. They've had to truly understand themselves. Okay, but I think that, you know, they're ready to move. They're feeling more ready. They think they're more ready to move forward, right? And they are in a much better position than before. I think this is why they're really thinking so much on the past, reminiscing, especially on this connection. Okay, there's someone who wants to claim what's theirs, is what I've heard, but I don't think it's like in a I own it kind of way, you know, like arrogance. It's more like, let me show you who I've become, you know, let me show you what I can hold down. But that's the thing, you know, I don't know, there's something about, I'm hearing maturity, something about maturity that's still, I've got 2 pages now as well. Page of Swords, yeah, someone's really learning how to do things differently from a more healed space. So they're really putting the effort in here, or they have been, okay? For a long time they were just focused on themselves. That's just truth. They were just focused on themselves, right? I don't think they even thought about the pain that they'd caused to this energy, this Queen of Cups energy. Someone who's very focused on their career, right, their abundance path, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but if they were using it as an excuse to avoid taking accountability for what they needed to, then that's a different matter, right? But I say, they are really healing. They're, you know, this Queen of Cups has been healing. This is what I mean, she's in that new space where she's like holding more compassion. I think she's understanding this better. She's understanding, and not by allowing herself to be a walking mat, but more like, okay, you know what, you're really on your journey. Actually, you know what, you have to do the whole soul thing as well. You have to do the whole clearing through all this stuff as well. It's not easy, right? That does not mean she excuses how she has been treated, right? That still requires effort, right, to be put in. The Moon. This is definitely a Queen of Cups who's got a hold on her emotions, and it's like so many times she's had things try to tear her away from that. When I say she puts in work on herself, I'm talking about her internal self. That's the beauty of it. I think she's so led innately, like intuitively, actually. Beautiful. I'm getting Pisces energy. Oh my god, no way. The way the King of Cups just landed on the Queen of Cups then. And then the Lovers. I get very excited when I see stuff like this. Okay. See, King of Cups leveling up. King of Queen of Cups. Okay. I think these are emotionally detached, very emotionally detached. They're on 2 ends of the table as well, actually. Yeah, they don't know, they have no idea how each other feels. Okay. Yeah, someone's definitely been working on their self-betrayal, their betrayal of others. These ways, you know, they've been in the dark. They've truly had to be in the dark for this, to really face themselves. Because they were avoiding for a very long time, avoiding facing themselves, their accountability, their emotions. They were so focused that they didn't even realize they were hurting this energy along the way at all. No idea. They were so in their own darkness. And, you know, it feels like that when you're in the dark night of the soul. I mean, this has been multiple, and, you know, you can get more than one dark night of the soul in your life, right? But I think that came so fast for this person. It was like, whoa, like one thing after the other, destruction, right? I think it was multiple things. It was to do with, it could have been something really deep, you know, losing someone is coming through. Maybe even like a pet or something. Definitely connection, a relationship, like third-party energies. They just delved even deeper into that kind of energy though within themselves, because they were circulating through their wounds. But they are seeing this. They were definitely running on impulse. And yeah, Queen of Wands, sorry. You know, they I do feel like that's the Queen of Cups energy though. Someone's ready. Like Knight of Pentacles. Oh, they want it. Oh my god. Okay, Queen of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, 6 of Wands, and then the King of Wands. Someone is moving forwards, and there's a lot of attraction here still, but there's just like that emotional distance needs to be closed. There needs to be honest conversations. Here's what I'm hearing. Going back to this, somebody certainly was acting from boy energy, addictions, party lifestyle, I've heard specifically, which is interesting. Because again, I think that comes with attention, like the way you're approaching that, because anyone can go out, but it's like, but what's behind the surface? Like, what's your motivation, right? I think that this is an individual who had, they were drowning their sorrows. I say even deeper than that. I can't even put into words. It's kind of like their demons were just, they were just feeding their demons, truly. Anyway, someone's been really thinking about this connection. Oh, the Hierophant and the King of Pentacles. Yeah, talk about leveling up energy. And they realise that they're the ones who have to do this. They're the ones who have to really find stability within. Oh my God, you Queen of Pentacles. We're getting a lot of like counterpart energies here, okay? They're realizing that they need to be the one who is stable for this. They need to be the one who shows up with stability, because they understand that they need to show that they are trustworthy and they can create safety here, and they are safe space, right? Because when you come into a divine connection, sacred union, you've got to be each other's safe space. I don't use that term lightly, right? Because it's very intimate, very personal to be a safe space, which is why in sacred union it completely makes sense. They're watching this queen. They're watching this queen, and they're enjoying watching this queen. I don't know, maybe like this Queen of Pentacles energy, or Queen of, this feminine energy that's coming through is online. Maybe she's like just, I'm seeing her teaching something as well. So maybe she's teaches or something like that, right? There's a lot of that these days as well, if you can, if you think about it. But it's healing this person. I know this feminine energy doesn't realise she's sending healing to this masculine energy. So it's not just how she's, holding space in her heart right now for compassion outside of her. It's more than that. There's something she's doing. Something to do with her abundance path as well. That's beautiful. So she's really, that must mean she's on purpose, because she's, wow. She's been investing in finding her alignment for sure. She's on purpose. Feminine energy. Beautiful. She's been putting in work to get here. Truly. Okay. This feminine energy is also very indecisive when it comes to her emotions towards this masculine energy. That's because, first of all, she hasn't seen any improvements in, physically. There's been a long pause. She was left in heartbreak by herself. Oh my God, sadness. She was left in a third-party energy situation. That's what happened, okay? It was a comic situation. Somebody had to deal with it. I'm talking about, like I say, this is a very lusty energy that someone was in, okay? But this is why she's very indecisive. Understandably, it just doesn't feel nice. I think she felt like she had to put her guards up. But she might very well have acted in a very guarded way as well. I think that's why she's been healing beautifully, because she's reclaimed her power. You only act in a guarded way when you're outsourcing your attachment and expectation, right? She's reclaimed that. Oh my God, transition massively. That landed right on the Knight of Pentacles, awakening. She's been through her awakenings as well. She's had so much solo time, learning herself, healing through herself. Oh my goodness, wow. Yeah, she's ready to move forward, but she's had to do this very much from her own space. She's had to find calmer waters within, okay? And now it's kind of like, how much has she even invested in the past? But the beauty of it is, when you think about your emotional investment, you don't want it. This is that burden. You don't want to carry the heavy burdens forward. You don't want to do that. Of course you don't. But there is that space of holding space and understanding that others are healing through theirs as well. Some people don't. That's their choice. Others do. People can change. Truly. I think that too often, it's so sad the way in the societies these days, everyone wants to just it's almost like blame and shame, right? It's when there are people who have gone through such deep, dark trauma, and that, I'm not saying this excuses them treating anyone else not good or whatever, but what I'm saying is that, yes, hold those boundaries, yes, release and close out those cycles, understand why you made those choices yourself. But then, there's a lot about kind of manipulating people's feelings these days. Even online, there's so much, and it's just sad because I think there's just a lack of like self-focus sometimes. Like, well, if that's how you feel, just bring it back to yourself. Find detachment. This is what this feminine energy has been doing. She's been kind of releasing so that she can call her power back to her, you know. I'm hearing vindictive, and that's because I feel like that's exactly what she's not been, right? This masculine energy might have experienced that though. Yeah, playfulness. So recapturing that kind of inner youth, yeah? Forgiving and learning. So I think moving forwards, again, you don't want to carry that heavy burden forwards. Yes, there's clearly some kind of honest conversations that need to take place I'm hearing like clear the rubble of the tower that was like just left unspoken on. Yeah, it's been slow moving, but it's kind of like you're both in a calmer space right now to be able to do this very soon. Clearly decide on what you want, clearly. So when it comes, you can see engagement at the bottom of the deck. So yeah, there's going to be that opportunity. But like I said, in order to move forward in this, it's like feminine energy is going to have to make that decision to do so. Honeymoon. Enjoying the time of holiday bliss together, romantic feelings. Okay, so maybe this is a summer thing. Yeah, I feel that. I said summer thing, and it sounded like in my head it sounded like summer fling. We don't want to make this a fling. This is, if we're talking about sacred union here, it's not just a fling, right? Maybe this is what you had in the past, a honeymoon phase, and it quickly went. Romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. Reconciliation. The bottom of the deck there. Okay, see, this is the thing, you're going to have the opportunity to explore your feelings, and then you're going to have to decide how to move forwards there. Children, heavy getting a lot of inner child wounding here. Separation, the bottom of the deck as well. So yeah, there's been a lot of inner child wounds that you just would have literally, throughout this time of separation, you just would not have aligned. You would literally have been just bringing out the shadows in a way where you're not even holding safety to heal through that. You know, you were both so triggered. Yes, this is your soul person. Yeah, there is a soul deep connection here. I mean, look at all the counterpart energy that's coming through. First card, 4 of Wands, then you have the 2 of Cups, then you have all the King and Queens, you know. So definitely soul aligned. But it's about how you're going to be able to bring that in physical. That's where it makes all the difference. Why it's so important to focus on, your inner union, because that's the best way you can ensure that you are in a space to receive and attract to you your external union, right? Worth waiting for. Divine timing is at play. Freeing yourself during this time apart. There's been a lot of like freeing yourself from all those the attachments. I'm hearing specifically negative habits. It's an interesting way to put it. Heart-to-heart conversations at the bottom there. So it's like just ways that were just hindering your growth. Not even for this union, just within yourself, and you finding your purpose. And it's clear that, divine feminine energy has been doing that. Both of you have actually. Clear that both of you have in very different ways. I think you were at different stages in your healing journey when you met as well, right? Religious factors. So there's definitely something about spirituality here that is a difference, or it has been, or somebody saw it as some kind of hindrance, right? Maybe someone was more invested in this kind of spiritual journey of theirs than the other person. And they couldn't see how it would work or something. Love yourself first. Your self-respect makes you more romantically attractive, okay? And making the effort at the bottom of the deck as well. I think someone chose to love themselves. But I honestly feel like, looking at these cards, it was the divine feminine energy who chose her healing. And this divine masculine was just cycling through the pain of the past, truly. I think both were to a degree, but I'm talking about, how I said you came in at different levels of your healing journey. That's not a hierarchy. I'm just talking about where you're at on your journey and how it didn't align, okay? Expect powerful change, clearly. That's a big one here. I think there's this energy of, I think you're finally understanding your divine path, truly. I think that's what's happening, okay? Confidence is your key to success there, Leo energies. So again, that's summer. Yeah, you have to have that confidence in your journey, in your path, in the decisions that you are making. So I think this Queen of Cups is going to be making decisions to move forward, and I don't think she's going to know what's on the other side, but she's going to be trusting her intuition and her divine guidance, right? Because she knows that whatever decision she makes moving forward is going to create the path ahead, because she has so much power in this decision right now. Your dreams need a practical plan. Yeah, it's about bringing it here now. Luck is on your side. You know, you both want this, but how are you going to be able to invest in it in a way that it's like grounded in your reality? And it looks like it is with that, the King and Queen of Pentacles, you know, that's very like here on ground. Don't let the past hold you back. It's a big one. That's going to be a big one, especially after it's spoken on, you know, just to clear through it. Be bold and make the first move. There is going to be someone making a first move here. Once they gather the confidence there. I think they need to just be okay with not knowing what's going to happen. I think there's somebody who needs to know, oh my God, how's it going to go, so they can prepare emotionally and like, you know, so they don't get hurt. But I think they need to be, this is where it's like that, okay, but I can still hold it down regardless of what happens. I think that's holding them back. Luck is on your side. Okay, so maybe they're thinking of the absolute worst. They don't need to, not in this situation. Oh, see, just as I said, nothing will come of this situation. Yeah, they don't need to be thinking like that. That's just as I said, they're thinking the worst, you know, all this. See, a new start is coming. And regardless of what that looks like, I feel like there's going to be just something where, you know, neither of you want to carry that heavy energy forwards. That's the beauty of the healing that you've been doing while you're apart. You don't realize how much you have actually come into your own alignment, which is helping you to truly come into a space where you can hold this love in space as you bring love into the situation. You can hold that together as this new start comes through. I think that's a reason why it's coming into this kind of alignment right now. Okay, let's just see if there's anything else. So literally, just as I said, that we had communication is key. So it's going to be important for both of you to don't hold back on your truth, but just keep it from a loving space, because I think there's something, I can see you both were wanting to work together for this, honestly. I think you've both been reminiscing more than either of you realize. But when it comes to making those decisions moving forwards, I do feel like this Queen of Cups, she needs, I think you're both going to need to really understand where you need to put the effort in. Okay, so we've got Gemini energy, Taurus, Leo, Sagittarius as well. Okay, those seasons could be important as well for you, Pisces as well. Could be important for memories, that kind of thing. Okay, there's certainly a rebirth happening. Okay, that reconciliation card did kind of flick through for a second as well, but I do think that something is coming back up to be aired. Judgment. Okay, and it's going to take, it might very well mean that you put this on pause again, just to kind of gather yourself to understand where you're at now, because I don't think that you've had that kind, you know, that kind of where you've had that before with each other. So it's kind of like you're going from silence towards stillness. So it's like, okay, so there's communication now, but how do we handle this? Because suddenly it's going to make you feel a certain way, so you're going to have to retreat and be like, okay, let me just gather myself to understand. And that's okay, like that's healthy to do that, but just talk about it. Say that actually this is what we need to do, or maybe this is how I feel, you know, how do you feel, you know what I mean? It's a two-way thing, working together. I just keep seeing working together. You both want to, but there's also something about being very mindful that you are both very much at this moment on very individual journeys. You're both focusing on very different, like your own path, but in a beautiful way, because it's actually bringing you into your alignment. I can feel a lot of power in this. I think that it's got such potential to reach certain levels, but it's all about how you decide to release the past, have confidence, be honest, you know, and how are you learning from each other? How are you willing to step forwards with each other? There's something about here where, you know, this isn't about masks anymore. This is about accepting, yes, this is our journey. We are deeply self-connected, you know. And yeah, if there has been something else happening in the background when it comes to your inner child, or even just children, that might help you to see each other's journey differently as well. Okay, but there is this kind of very soon energy and making the effort, but just be mindful of passion. Okay, that didn't come out, but they were peeking through before. So and this is someone who's had to really handle that. Okay, it's okay to take your time making this decision. I don't feel like you'll need to take your time making the decision. I think that there's just going to be this energy of divine timing, it's been worth waiting for to this point, and it's going to continue to be. So it's okay if you both still need some time to just recalibrate yourselves, your energies, you know. Don't need to rush. You can still make the effort without kind of going from 0 to 100. But I do feel like there will be an energy to want to kind of move forwards, but you need to create those boundaries within yourselves and with each other. You know, your connection will need boundaries from external parties too. There's a lot you're gonna have to think about. And first and foremost, it starts with your self-respect. There's something big about I'm hearing integrity, but also just holding down strong on your values, both of you, because I think that this is where you're going to find your alignment truly. Okay, so look after you. Let me know if this message was for you. Okay, sending love.